What is going on, YouTube? This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my opinion of the top 10 Amazing Spider-Man villains. I'm also going to tell you a little bit about the books they first appeared in, and of course, the sweet spot for where I think you should buy them. Alright guys, so we are going to go through the top 10 Spider-Man villains according to me. Now people may differ from my opinion, and that's okay. Just leave a comment down below. Let me know if I missed anybody or if they should be in a different order. But leave comments down below and I'll go through them and see what we think. But at number 10 on my list is of course the Black Cat. Now the Black Cat first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 194, which debuted in July of 1979. Now she was always one of my favorite villains. Of course, is she a villain? Is she a love interest? She's kind of both. But either way, she deserved number 10 on my list. A 9.0 recently sold on GPA for $550, an 8.0 for $350, and of course a 7.0 for $200. Now for me, I own two 8.0 copies of this book, but I think if you could pick up this book and afford this book at a 9.0, you should go ahead and do it. Now, like I said, $550 may be a lot of money. I think a 9.0 for a Bronze Age major character is well worth it. If you can go with the 8.0, like I said, I have two of them. Try to stick at $350 or under, but those I think are the sweet spots for this book. At number 9, I have Amazing Spider-Man number 4, which of course is the debut of the Sandman. Now, I don't know about you guys, I used to love playing that old Nintendo game. I think it was Spider-Man versus Kingpin. I used to love going against the Sandman. He was one of the toughest guys to beat in that game. But again, Sandman first appeared in, like I said, Amazing Spider-Man number 4, which debuted in September of 1963. Now, a 3.0 recently just sold for $1,590. A 2.5 recently sold for $1,020. And a 2.0 recently sold for $1,114. To me, the 2.5 is a sweet spot. It's about $500 less than a 3.0. So if you could pick that book up for about around $1,000, I still think it's a good buy. Who knows if we're going to see the Sandman again in a future Spider-Man movie. You know, I don't think he did the greatest job in Spider-Man number 3 with Tobey Maguire. Hopefully they get to redo that character because he's one of my all-time favorites. So, at number 8 is a character we've already seen, and that is Mysterio. Now, he had first appeared on Amazing Spider-Man number 13, which debuted in June of 1964. Now, a 4.5 recently sold for $1,239, a 4.0 recently sold for $1,219, and a 3.5 recently sold for $1,030. To me, the sweet spot for this book is around a 4.0, with sales around $1,200. To me, again, I don't think we're done seeing Mysterio in the MCU. I think he will pop up in the next Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, yet to be seen, but Jake Gyllenhaal did an amazing portrait of that classic Spider-Man character. I don't think that we're done with him, so I do think this book is still on the rise. At number 7 is the Lizard. Lizard is a classic character. I used to love watching him on those early Spider-Man cartoons. Of course, Dr. Kurt Connors, he first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 6. That debuted in November of 1963. Not the greatest cover, in my opinion. Probably one of the least of my favorites growing up. But a 3.5 just recently sold of that book of $1,300, a 3.0 for $920, and a 2.5, believe it or not, for $800. So this book can be had for pretty cheap considering there's Silver Age keys, Silver Age Spider-Man keys. I think that 3.0 around $900 something to $1,000 is the sweet spot. If you could pick it up and find it for a good price, I do think you add it to the collection. Now, like I said, all these books are spiking because of all the speculation about the Spider-Verse, as they should. So if you can, jump on this stuff right now. And by the way, guys, all these prices are coming from GPAanalysis.com. If you guys haven't seen this site before, what they do is they drag all the last sales from eBay, and that'll tell you exactly like a 3 months average, last sale, and so on and so forth. So that's where I'm getting these prices from, and they're all, you know, April, May prices. So I know things are kind of going crazy lately, but they're relatively good prices, and they're recent. So at number 6 is Electro. To me, they didn't do Electro justice in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He was awful in my opinion. Hopefully, there's rumors that he will be in the next Spider-Man movie, and Jamie Foxx will reprise the role, and hopefully they change the character and the costume, and everything's all right. That's what we're hoping. This book is spiking lately. He first debuted in Amazing Spider-Man number 9, which debuted in February of 1964. Now, a 3.0 recently sold for $1,100. A 2.5 recently sold for $927. And a 2.0, believe it or not, the last sale was for $350, which I'm sure is not valid anymore. But it was a month and a half ago. So who knows? If you could jump on it for that price, I suggest you do. But I think that 2.5 is a sweet spot, around a $900 sale. And like I said, this book is still spiking. The trouble is trying to find these books in lower grade because people don't seem to be letting them go. The higher grade ones, they're significantly higher and very hard to attain unless you kind of have that kind of spread to be able to spend that kind of money. So 2.5, as long as it looks nice, to me is a good investment and is worthy of adding to the collection. Okay. At number 5 is a character and villain that we may see in the next movie. That's what I'm hearing. I have no idea. He is getting his own movie from right here, and that is Kraven the Hunter. Kraven first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 15. That was one of my favorite covers of the Silver Age Spidey run. Beautiful purple cover. He first debuted in August of 1964. Now, a 3.0 recently sold for $800. A 2.5 recently sold for $612, and a 2.0 recently sold for $655. All within range, all close to one another. So to me, the higher grade that you can afford is the higher grade I would go with. And this book is recently, I'm talking about the last couple of weeks, starting to really fly. So if you can pick this up, pick it up now, because I think it's only going to get higher. Like I said, a 3.0 last sold for $800. I don't think that's that bad. So the 3.0, 2.5 range, that's what I'm sticking with. But if you can afford a higher copy, I would go with that as well. Okay. At number 4, believe it or not, is probably my top 2 Spider-Man villains of all time. And that is the Kingpin. Now, we think of Kingpin, we think of Spider-Man, we think of Daredevil. But to me, growing up, he always dueling Spider-Man. So, and of course, it has one of the most iconic covers of all time. He first debuted in Amazing Spider-Man number 50. Of course, this is also the storyline of Spider-Man No More. So that book debuted in July of 1967. Now, a 4.0, believe it or not, recently sold for $688 according to GPA. I have seen 4.0 sell for close to $900 to $1,000, so I think that's a little bit behind. A 4.5 they have for $773, and a 5.0 for $1,078. So you can see there's a big disparity between 1 point from 4.0 to a 5.0. Now, I will say this book is red hot. Red hot. I suggest buying this book raw if you can for a little bit less, and then probably having it graded if you want to go that route, because the graded copies of this book are all through the roof right now. So again, if you could pick up a 4.5, I think that's worth for $800 or less. That's, I think, a sweet spot. I think I have a 4.0 or a 4.5 behind me. Of course, I've had this book in my collection for a while. I paid a lot less than that, but now's the time to pick up this book. And of course, it's one of the most beautiful covers of the Silver Age. So, Kingpin is number 4 on my list. Excuse me. At number 3 is the classic villain, and I want to say a modern villain, but someone who's already have his own movie, and that, of course, is Venom. He first debuted in Amazing Spider-Man 300, and Todd McFarlane brought this character to life, and he has exploded ever since. Now, that book came out in May of 1988. I was a wee 11 years old when it did, and I remember this copy hitting the newsstands because this cover was amazing, and of course, it has been homaged to death. So, at an 8.5, last sale was $885. A 9.0 sold for a cool $1,000, and a 9.2 is going for $1,250. With this book, the higher the grade, the better the value. I would not suggest picking this book up under a 9.2, and that's just my opinion. There are a lot of copies out there, and this book is on fire, going crazy between Venom and Carnage. Now we saw in the new trailer. If you could pick this book up for about 9.2, 1,200 or under, around that price, I suggest you do it. The higher the grade, the better the investment in this book. So remember that. Believe it or not, you can go back and check my videos. I picked up an Amazing Spider-Man 300 signed by Todd McFarlane. That is a 9.2 signed by Todd for like $400, maybe about less than a year ago. So this book is crazy. It's on fire. Secure yours if you can, if you don't have it. So he is number 3 on the list. At number 2 is probably my favorite Spider-Man villain of all time, and that is Dr. Octopus. He first appeared in Amazing Spider-Man number 3, and that debuted in July of 1963. Now, 2.0 recently sold for this book is $2,250. A 1.5 last sale, believe it or not, was only for $900, and a 1.0 was $800. And I will say this, these recent sales for 1.5 and 1.0, they seem extremely low to me. 900 and 800, I don't think you're getting these books for that price anymore. I personally have a 1.8 copy behind me, and I think I paid just over $1,000 for it. So if you could find this book anywhere from a 1.5 to a 2.0 for around $1,100-$1,200, I suggest you pick it up. This character is blowing up right now. We all know the news of Alfred Molina reprising his role in the next Spider-Man movie, and this book is on fire. Not to me, not one of my favorite covers from the Silver Age Spidey run. Kind of boring, but my all-time favorite Spider-Man villain. He, between the cartoons, between the comics, between getting the Sinister Six together, he played an important role in Spider-Man lore. And to me, there's no bigger villain, in my opinion, besides the number 1 spot, for Dr. Octopus. Speaking of number 1, we all know who number 1 is, right? Of course, it is the Green Goblin and Norman Osborn. He comes in at number 1 because he is Spider-Man's arch nemesis. Between the death of Gwen Stacy, between everything else that the Green Goblin's done, between unmasking Peter Parker and Amazing Spider-Man number 39, my all-time favorite Spider-Man color, John Romita, absolutely killed that cover. He first debuted in Amazing Spider-Man number 14. Beautiful yellow cover. Came out in July of 1964. Now, 3.0 recently sold for $1,600. A 2.5, believe it or not, sold for $1,900. And a 2.0 sold for $1,275. Now, you don't often see a lower grade sell for more than a higher grades. In this case, the last sale was $1,600 for 3.0. And believe me, if you can get that book for $1,600 now, you better fly to buy it, because this book is about to go airborne. We're talking about Spider-Man's arch nemesis, and I believe that sweet spot is between a 2.5 and a 3.0. Right now, I think if you get that book for under $2,000, you go ahead and you pick it up. It is beyond a good investment, not only for the Green Goblin part of it, because of Norman Osborn. I know we don't find out he's Norman Osborn until, I believe, number 37. So that's a secondary book. If you can't afford the first appearance of the Green Goblin, pick up the first appearance of Norman Osborn, because that book is also going to get really hot. But if you can, Amazing Spider-Man number 14, of course, he is the top villain in the Spider-Verse, in my opinion. So that's it, guys. That's it for the top 10. I'm hoping to do more of these down the line with other characters and other things. So thank you for sticking with me through this entire thing. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying, drop me a comment down there. Let me know what you guys think of this list. If I omitted anybody, if someone should be higher or lower. Of course, hit that like bell if you feel so inclined. And of course, I hope you're a subscriber. And I'll talk to you guys soon.